Genres are important for any medium. They are a way to group similar works together so they can easily be compared and explained. Anime has a ton of genres, from action to romance and even horror. But today, we are here to talk about a very contentious genre. A genre that I actually really enjoy. Harem. Harems are known for having a sole male surrounded by several female love interests. The love interests all have different personalities and reasons for why they love the protagonist, and they all try to be the winning girl. But what if there wasn't one winning girl? What if there were several? In fact, why not all of them? And that is the exact route that this series takes. The harem with 0 losers, the 100 girlfriends who really love you. This series is my favorite harem of all time because it defines the genre. Sure, quintessential quintuplets is great at leaving you in suspense as you desperately try to guess who the winning girl is, and Monster Musume is just plain turn your brain off fun. But 100 Girlfriends is great because it flips the genre on its head and gives every girl the spotlight so that it can focus on having fun characters and super funny moments. That's why it earns my spot as my favorite harem ever. 100 Girlfriends is written by Rikito Nakamura and is illustrated by Yukiko Nozawa. It began serialization in Shueisha's Weekly Young Jump in December 2019 and is still running to this day. The story follows Ijo Rentaro, who has been rejected a total of 100 times and he isn't even a high schooler yet. But after walking home with a friend that we never see again, he visits a shrine to pray for love, and to his surprise, God actually appears before him. God tells Rentaro that everyone has one soulmate, but he messed up and accidentally gave Rentaro 100 soulmates. Dang. Lucky guy, I can't even find one girl to go out with me, and he gets 100.
Tokyo called, they want their ghoul back.
But there is a bit of a twist, because God also says that if someone doesn't find true love with their soulmate, they will be extremely unlucky and then die. So, Rentaro vows to find all of his soulmates and become the ultimate polygamist. The series starts by introducing 2 girls at once, Inda Karane and Hikari Hanazono. Karane is a tsundere, but since this is a comedy, her tsundere traits are exaggerated. She constantly does the "it's not like I like you or anything" bit, even with things that aren't Rentaro. This is the funniest use of a tsundere I've seen, because while yes, they exaggerate and lean on this trait a lot, they also exaggerate the straight manning that is also common in tsundere. And we can't forget that the dere in tsundere means lovey-dovey, so she still has moments of being affectionate that help balance her out and not be super gimmicky. Hikari, on the other hand, is an usodere. Wait, what? Shouldn't she be a yandere? That would make more sense and would play off Karane perfectly. Well, the reason for her being classified as an usodere is because she acts like a sweet innocent girl on the inside, but is actually very pervy on the inside. But even if she is an usodere, it doesn't really matter because she still plays a great foil for Karane, who is introduced right alongside her. Hikari is very adamant about her feelings for Rentaro and is very aggressive in trying to initiate romantic acts, which oftentimes don't go as planned. There are also physical differences between the two. Which side are you on? The two become Rentaro's girlfriends at the same time and are a perfect introduction into how the series will play out moving forward. The series has a very well thought out structure, where a new girl will be introduced and her and Rentaro will have a chapter alone together. And then in the following chapter, she will be introduced to what is known as Rentaro's family. And Rentaro's family will get to know this new girl and her gimmick. And in between girlfriends, there will always be ensemble chapters or chapters with small groups of girlfriends, or some chapters where Rentaro can hang out with the girls one-on-one. And we keep repeating this pattern all the way until we get 100 girlfriends. Currently, as of writing this script, there are 26 girlfriends in 150 chapters. So that's about 1 girlfriend per 6 chapters, which is actually a good pace. If it was just constantly throwing girlfriends at you, it would get really overwhelming. And the 6 chapters in between helps make sure that the older characters don't get neglected. This balance is really appreciated. When Rentaro meets a new girl, there will be a zing between them. The girls can range anywhere from another high schooler, which most are, to a teacher like Natty, who is the school's Japanese teacher despite dressing like a cowgirl and talking about America and freedom all the time, or Momoha, who is constantly drunk despite being the ethics teacher. There are also other adults like Kaho, a half-Brazilian college student who practices this martial art. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this because I will say it wrong and the comments will yell at me. And some are even just straight up Rentaro's cousin, like Chio. Look, in a manga where the tagline is every girl is a winner, doing the cousin archetype is a bold decision. But at least she doesn't call him Oni-chan. After the zing, Rentaro will get to know more about the girl in a one-on-one chapter with her that shows off her quirky personality. Like in Yamame's intro chapter, where Rentaro goes to the school's gardening club in search of flowers to make into crowns for his at the time 13 girlfriends. There he meets Yamame, who is in the club, and Rentaro helps her tend to the garden while learning about how much she cares about animals. At the end of these chapters, Rentaro will ask the girl to be his girlfriend, she will accept, and then she will be introduced to the harem in the next chapter. Or she could be like Uto and decline, claiming to be a wandering bard, but she just has Junibyo and joins the harem in the next chapter anyway. 100 Girlfriends is filled with a lot of great characters, and they're all allowed to shine in their own way. But my favorite part of 100 Girlfriends, and where I think it really excels, is the ensemble scenes where all of the characters are included. Most of the ensemble scenes occur on the roof of the school, and these scenes are used to introduce the harem to the new girlfriend's gimmick. Like when they get introduced to Akko. Akko is a gal who has low blood pressure, so instead of being super energetic like other gal characters, she is really laid back as if she is stoned all the time. I mean, just look at that face.
Smoke weed every day.
Akko loves going to specialty stores that sell cute accessories, so the family breaks into teams of 2 to come up with little stands that sell goods based on the personalities of the girls, like the stall ran by Kurumi and Momoji. Kurumi likes eating and Momoji likes fondling people, so they sell bread-shaped keychains because Kurumi kept eating the bread. But the ensemble chapters aren't just used to introduce new characters. They're also an excuse to do gimmicks, like chapter 93, which is literally called a chapter that is just close-ups of everyone wearing glasses. Gee, I wonder what happens in that chapter. And all of the girls look great, especially best girl Kishika. Big shock, DevBrev's favorite girl is the one with the ponytail. Sometimes the chapters will backtrack and redo things that have been done before, but now with the new girlfriends added in, like the baby chapter and the idol chapter, the latter of which coming right after introducing Himeka, who is a singer obsessed with being abnormal. Looks like she's in the right series. These gimmick chapters don't really have a plot or a point per se. They're only really just an excuse to show the girls in different outfits or body swap as each other. But there was one gimmick chapter where it was actually used to introduce a new girl to the ensemble. Tama is a human who wants to be a cat. So, in the chapter that she gets introduced to everybody, everyone in the cast wears cat ears. Devin, be strong. Not into cat girls. Rentaro looks cute though. The ensemble scenes are very well written, especially for the number of characters that have to be utilized and balanced. There are only about 20 pages per chapter, so depending on where the girlfriend number is at the time, it can be hard to give every character equal time to shine. When it was less than 20, every girl got a page with room for setup, but as that number grew closer to 20, it became half a page, and now that we are over 20, some girls get mixed in with other girls in montage form, but every girl is still brought up. I have a lot of appreciation for not only the writer of the story, for being able to board what I assume to be the physical embodiment of a headache, but also the artist for drawing all of these characters and making them all distinct from each other. The characters all have great silhouettes, which is the mark of a good character design, and they all have very distinct voices as I read them in the manga. For example, Kusri sounds like this, yep. Nano sounds like this.
And Shizuka sounds like this.
Also, the art in general is beautiful. I love the depictions of all of the kissing scenes. Each and every one feels like it is coming at the end of the manga. Along with all of the ensemble scenes, the series loves playing around with small groups of girlfriends. Sometimes this is done in duos. Some of the duos are mainstays of the series, like Mimimi and Mei. Mimimi is a little self-centered and obsessed with beauty, and Mei is very attractive but doesn't want people looking at her because of how shy she is. So, it is fun to see these two interact. There was also the duo of Hahari, who is actually Hakari's mother, and her maid Mei. Mei respects Hahari dearly and will even die for her, so the two being together is important to Mei's character. But Hahari isn't the only one related to someone else in the family. Yaku is actually Kusuri's grandmother. Yes, this series has a gilf. It isn't just duos either. Sometimes there are small groups of 3 or 4. My favorite example of this is in chapter 114, which is called a tsundere-esque date. There are a lot of different girls in 100 Girlfriends, and no two are exactly the same, but there are 3 who have tsundere traits. Kurane, who is straight up a tsundere, Kurumi, whose main trait is that she eats a lot, but she has the straight manning aspects down, and Mai, who is a siscon towards Mei, despite not actually being related. Mai is a soft tsundere. She admits to loving her sister Mei, but is very tsundere towards Rentaro. So, chapter 114 puts them all together in a really funny date scene, where Kurumi pushes herself to be more forward with her feelings because she is the least tsundere of the 3. So, not only is this chapter super funny, it gives Kurumi some good development. So, there are a lot of characters, and the series has proven that it can handle large groups and smaller groups, but how does the series handle the older girlfriends? There are always chapters that just focus on Rentaro and one of the girlfriends having some alone time, and oftentimes it is with a girl that hasn't gotten solo attention in a while, like in chapter 60, which focuses on Iku, Rentaro's 9th girlfriend. She likes baseball and also pain. In this chapter, Iku and Rentaro go on a date, and Iku, wanting to impress her boyfriend, wears a skirt despite normally wearing pants because she is a tomboy. After the date, Rentaro suggests the two go to a batting cage, and while they are there, another couple makes fun of them because Iku is boyish. But Iku doesn't mind because of the whole masochism thing. But Rentaro gets fired up when the other boyfriend implies that his girlfriend is cuter. So Rentaro does one of the many feats of strength he does throughout the manga and just hits the ball until he gets the special home run. Rentaro is completely spent, and as he lays motionless on the ground, he tells Iku that he loves her just the way she is. And then Iku picks him up to carry him home, and the two share a passionate kiss. This chapter is great and utilizes a girl that I think is just okay. But the next chapter we're going to talk about uses one of my favorite girls in the series, and it actually reminded me why I love 100 Girlfriends so much. Shizuka is Rentaro's 3rd girlfriend, and her name actually translates to quiet in Japanese, which is fitting because Shizuka doesn't talk much. Instead, when Rentaro met her, she would point out words in her favorite book to communicate, but Rentaro painstakingly programs the book into her phone so that she can communicate easier. But in chapter 134, Shizuka tells Nano that her phone is broken. Nano can see that something is wrong with Shizuka, so Nano asks her over to her place to study. And while there, Nano asks Shizuka to take a bath with her. You gotta get the fan service in there somewhere. In the bath, Nano asks what's wrong, and Shizuka explains that her mother took her phone away because she is using it to talk and her mother thinks it is strange. Shizuka verbally laments that she couldn't tell Rentaro what happened because he was the one who allowed her to use her phone. Shizuka rarely speaks, and you can feel every bit of emotion because of the art, so this scene has the right amount of weight. In the following chapter, Rentaro and Shizuka confront her mother. This chapter is very different from the rest of the series, with themes of abuse and a very serious discussion of viewpoints between Rentaro and Shizuka's mother. This chapter definitely shows off the talents of the author, and I highly recommend you read this series just so you can experience these 2 chapters. This part nails a more serious tone, but 100 Girlfriends is a romantic comedy with emphasis on the comedy, So there are plenty of jokes to go around. One of the more common attempts at humor is breaking the fourth wall. This happens a lot in many ways, like talking about the artist directly, or in chapter 150 where Rentaro lifts up one of the pages to double check if there was a zing because his monologue covered it up. And there are so many references to other anime too. I appreciate this Chainsaw Man reference, courtesy of Rin's affinity for violence, and on the topic of Rin, she constantly brings up Resident Evil, and you can't have a manga without a One Piece reference or two. Like this Zoro reference of Kusuri with 3 swords. But I just discovered this reference, and this is amazing. I am convinced Oda himself drew this. Because of all the comedy elements, all of the girls are super goofy with funny quirks. Like Sue, who likes numbers way too much. But nothing can prepare you for the wackiest character of them all, Kusuri. Kusuri likes drugs, but don't worry, she hasn't tried meth yet. And her name Kusuri actually means drugs. Thank you, Redo of Healer, for teaching me that one. But as you can see, Kusuri is a lolly, and that is because of her immortality drug. This is the form that she is stuck in due to the drug not working right. So, this isn't what she actually looks like. If she takes the negation drug, she will temporarily look like this. This is the pinnacle of character design. A mature science-type girl with glasses and a ponytail? Is it my birthday or what? But even with all this, Kusuri isn't best girl for me because she has more quirks, like talking in the third person, ending all of her sentences in yep yep, and peeing herself. Why did they make her the piss fetish character? It's Maple all over again. However, some of the girls feel like they might exist just for their gimmick alone. Like Momoji, who likes to fondle people and that's it. Or Mei, who is very shy, so when she gets embarrassed, she throws out a stuffed toy as a distraction. And yes, even best girl Kishika falls under this category too. Kishika is very serious at everything she does. Hey, that's kinda like me. She is super serious because she has to take care of her siblings a lot, but she really wants to be pampered and reassured that she's doing a good job. Okay, I hate to say, but I relate to that last part too. However, when it comes to Kishika, whenever she gets head pats, which, again, kinda relate, she will immediately revert to a childlike state and act like a baby. The similarities end here. So, all of the scenes with her end with Hahari, the MILF of the group, nuzzling up to her, and then Kishika will go da baby mode. It's very repetitive. Same goes for Momoji and Mei. Their scenes always play out roughly the same. I know this probably looks different. I recorded this in October, and now it's December, and my outro doesn't make sense anymore. Anyway, my earlier point about some of the girls feeling gimmicky is my only problem with the series, and it's a minor problem. I love this series, and I especially love the way that the anime has turned out. The anime is very funny with a lot of fourth wall breaks, a ton of meme humor, and it's so good to see this manga get a great adaptation. By the way, how's the OP? It's okay, I really wish it was better. How are the EDs? ED 1. It's okay. The visuals are really cute though. ED 2. I like this ED, don't get me wrong, but if you're gonna give one of the girlfriends an ED, you have to give all of them an ED. Because that's just what the series is about. Equal treatment for all of them, and favoring Hahari by giving her own ED, that's not really within the nature of the show. I love this series, and I hope that the anime gets more than just the one season that we have right now, and I'm really excited to read way more of the manga. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not, and if you want to help me out, share this video around with a lot of people. And with that, sayonara. Also, between filming the video and it actually coming out, they introduced a new girl in the manga. Her name is Matsuri. It means festival in Japanese, and she's so British, it hurts. Yo boy!